There has been a ton of noise and chatter expressing concerns about President Biden being the nominee in November. I think it's a bit ridiculous and hysterical, but I understand where people are coming from. But there's nobody better at defending Biden and his administration than our Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Pete was asked by a reporter recently about these concerns, and he had a brilliant answer that I can't wait to share with you guys because this is so important. Now, Pete has been on a rampage recently, taking on right-wing critics. He was in a hearing in Congress where House members tried to get the best of him, but he turned the tables on them over and over again. Watch this first clip.
Is there a time that you will say, you know what, this is just too expensive. This is just too expensive. We want to rethink this policy. Is there ever a time that you're going to say that it's too expensive?
If you think this is expensive, wait till you find out how much oil and gas subsidies you've been supporting. Also, wait till you find out the economic impact that some economists have put at $15 million every hour or every day, trillions of dollars every year from allowing the environmental conditions in this country and the planet to worsen.
Republicans are just outclassed at every stage by people like Pete Buttigieg. It is embarrassing that he has to waste his time talking to these buffoons. Next up is Congressman Scott Perry, former chairman of the Freedom Caucus in the House. He got absolutely annihilated by Pete Buttigieg.
Given time is limited, I will confine myself to addressing the factually incorrect portions of what you have said, beginning with the assertion that EV sales are going down. They are, in fact, going up.
Does that include government sales or private sales?
Every single year,
private sales
more
or government
Americans
sales,
have purchased
Mr. Secretary?
EVs. The entire market.
The government's forced to buy them, so sales are going up, but the private sector.
There are private sales too, yeah.
I'd like those numbers.
Sure. 1.2 million EVs were sold in the U.S. in 2020.
How many government and how many private?
We'll get you that breakout, but as you know, more private citizens buy EVs than government purchases.
No, I don't.
Let me address the second factual mistake in your remarks, which was that EV costs are getting higher. They're in fact getting lower, and according to J.D. Power, have now reached parity or are slightly lower than the equivalent gas-powered car. That does include the subsidy. That's right. But the point is they are going lower.
But they're not, because we're all buying them.
Your statement that they are going up is incorrect. The third incorrect assertion you made is that sales dropped in Q1. They did not drop compared to Q1 of the previous year. Of course, if you compare them to Q4, they drop because they always do, because car sales are seasonal. But I would imagine most people are aware of that. And
no, fourth, I'm talking about particular EV, Q4 to Q1. EV, not just overall car sales.
Any car sales go down Q1 to Q4 because more people buy cars in Q4. But what I'm telling you is every single year, more Americans buy EVs than the year before. And the word tailspin is just a bizarre word to use for a growing sector of our economy.
Those are a lot of factual inaccuracies that Secretary Pete Buttigieg has to correct. What an embarrassment Scott Perry is. But Pete Buttigieg seems to flourish in these environments where he can go toe-to-toe with Republicans. And he'll even go into the lion's den and appear on Fox News in an attempt to shake their audience and wake them up to reality. Check out this clip.
Let me be clear. Unemployment is lower than it was even before COVID. Stock market is higher than it was even before COVID. And job creation is faster than it was even before COVID. So no matter what rebound effects you're talking about, these are economic results that have not happened since before I was born. Now, in terms of cost, that's been a major issue. And by the way, that's been a major issue in every wealthy country. This is an example of something that was largely affected by COVID. But I think there's a reason why inflation in the U.S. is lower than it is in any of the other G7 countries.
It's actually not true.
At
least, well, not according to the Washington Post. They say Japan, Italy, and Germany all had lower inflation rates than we do, and Italy's is less than 1%.
They may have been looking at a different time period, but I'm telling you, if you look at the overall time period when it was toughest, our inflation rate was better. And I would add, right now, wages are going up faster than prices. That means even after inflation, you're coming out ahead.
Boy, Pete is just too good at this. Send this guy out to speak on behalf of the administration nonstop. That brings us up to now, where Pete was recently asked by a reporter about concerns related to Biden being on the ballot in November. And again, we should not let a 90-minute debate performance negate Biden's entire 3.5 years as president, where he's done a brilliant job for this country, and he's got so much more in store for us in a second term. Pete Buttigieg provided a brilliant answer to this question. Watch this.
As a member of the president's cabinet, you of course get to interact with him in a lot of ways that the general public does not. What's your message to folks right now who are worried about both the president's age and his ability to serve for another 4 years?
You know, the president, the boss that I work for, is a focused and disciplined leader, and you can tell from the results that we've gotten. No modern president has been able to deliver as many achievements as he did really in his first 2 years alone, including, of course, this historic infrastructure package, but also the legislation bringing manufacturing jobs back to places like where I grew up in northern Indiana, the benefits for veterans, the reduction in the cost of insulin, you name it. I think in any job, you want to be judged on the results that you deliver. And that's, I think, the part of the message that we're bringing as we hit the road, pointing up these great projects.
And when you're behind closed doors with him, is there anything you want to share with the public who might have seen his debate performance and said, I'm a bit worried, especially if they support something like this infrastructure law, but they wonder if he could do the next 4 years?
Look, when I'm in a room with him, it's a lot like what America saw on the night of the State of the Union address. You've got a leader who's very focused, knows what he cares about, holds everybody who works for him, all of us, to a very high standard, and is focused on getting things done, not the noise, the chaos, the divisiveness, but bringing people together.
Two more quick questions for you. In your capacity as a cabinet member, there's growing rumblings from Republicans in Congress about invoking the 25th Amendment and calling on the vice president to do that. What do you think about that, especially as you're out here trying to talk about legislation that's been passed?
It's just more crazy partisan politics. We have a job to do. I'm doing my job, the president's doing his job, and the results are all around us.
There it is. It's all about results. I will vote for the guy who struggled to get some of his answers out, suffering from a cold, up late at night, hasn't debated in a long time, over the man who lies nonstop and will step all over our democracy and possibly get rid of it. That's an easy decision for me. And I think it's important that the administration officials like Secretary Pete Buttigieg get out there and make the case for a second term for this administration. Because again, it's not just one person. And I believe many, many people in America understand that. And I tell you, we have some brilliant people in this administration, thanks to President Biden selecting them and allowing their talent to shine. So this might actually turn out to be an opportunity for those people to be highlighted and go out there and make a defense for the administration as a whole and remind people this isn't just one individual that you're hiring here as president, it's a whole group of people. And I think they've done a great job over the last 3.5 years. I'm confident in their ability working together to implement even more policy in a second term. So I'm optimistic. I hope a lot of you guys are hanging in there, and just note that there's a lot of time between now and November. 4 months is an eternity in politics. Biden has a ton of public speaking engagements between now and then. He even has a second debate versus Trump, where I guarantee he'll bring a different version of himself to that debate. So stay positive. Keep your eye on the prize. Everything's going to be fine.